Hey, welcome back one more time. One more time. So, infrared is working now too. And by working now, I mean it was always working, but I didn't read the documentation on how to actually use it. So, turns out you have to hold down the button until you get this menu right here. You can't just simply press the button. I know it's stupid. I should have read the documentation on how it works, but so I've got an OSSC. I got a remote, one of these Chung Hop learning remotes, and it's set up for an OSSC, which is the correct protocol for the GC video. So we're just going to program up the buttons. Okay, and now we can enter into the OSD from here and change settings and do all that good stuff. So, let's see. Let's say we wanted to turn enhanced DVI mode off. And we lost audio. We can mute it. You know, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. And you can store your settings. So once you get everything, let's say, let's see, OSD settings. We could turn the transparency up. We could turn the tint. Yeah, that looks nice, right? Maybe we could crank up the red. Turn down the blue. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't even know what color that is now. It looks like Kapton tape. So that's about it. Yeah, that's going to be my settings from now on. Yeah. Looks awesome. So, yeah. Sorry to, have split this up by 3 different videos, but just took a little bit of me being an idiot. And here we are. So at this point, yeah, the mod is fully functional, which means that now I can safely recommend it for anybody. And that also means I can conveniently put a listing on my store. So if you want a Wii HDMI installed, it's a lot cheaper than a Wii Dual. I don't know how much it's going to cost yet, but I can tell you already it's going to be a lot cheaper than a Wii Dual. Because I believe those are like $120 just for the board, not to mention installation. And I can tell you right now, cost to manufacture these boards, pretty cheap. Pretty cheap. So it's not really going to be in the same ballpark, I don't think, as the Wii Dual. So anyway, that's about it for the technical side of things. Let's go ahead and install this back into the casing, and I'll show you how that works. So we can kind of finally finish out this video that what it was originally supposed to be, which was me showing you start to finish how to install this. Okay, let's get all this garbage out of here. Don't worry about this. This was a GC HDMI board that I used to help me probe out and track down the resistor mistake that I made on the Wii HDMI bomb. Alright, so I temporarily added some screws to hold the heatsink on while I did testing. So I'm going to remove those real quick. Okay, so for the bottom housing, I'll tell you straight up, here's what I do. I don't install the metal shield back in there. It's not needed, and it gets in the way of some stuff. You'd have to do a lot of cutting on the metal shield, and I see no point in doing that, so I just don't even install it. I just put the board straight back in. Now there's a couple things that need to be done to get this board to fit properly. One, there's a couple of little pieces of plastic that need to be cut down here where the HDMI port is. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if I can get the camera zoomed into that. There's this little piece of plastic right here that's interfering with the flat flex connector. At some point I'll probably reduce the pin count on that flat flex connector to bring it more in line with like the way the the Wii Dual is, and then it won't cross over into this area where it's in the way. But as of this revision, we're still using a 20 pin flex cable because it's what I have a bunch of. So basically all you have to do is the spot that interferes with is right here where the USB ports come up. It's this little plastic piece right here. So you just take where the screw post is there, and you just snip, and then snip, and that's gone. And then there's this little peg here that you have to snip off as well. Once those are removed, then the HDMI port will slide all the way down, and then you'll have to cut a space for the HDMI port to come through the casing as well. So you can see now, maybe. Come on. Actually, I think this is too close for my camera's focusing distance. So you can see the HDMI port's in there, but the top of it is being impeded by the plastic here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a hobby knife and you're going to make a marking at the edge of the HDMI connector on both sides. To indicate the maximum width of the HDMI port, and then you're going to, it's actually really convenient in here, there's a little ledge on the plastic right here, and you're just going to shave the plastic down until you get to that ledge. So you're going to take your hobby knife and you're going to go, let's see here, take your hobby knife, and where you marked it out, you're just going to cut down. Alright, and then you're just going to take and cut sideways from one end to the other. Remove some material. Then you'll take another cut, remove a little bit more, until it's flush with that ledge. And then you'll repeat it going back the other direction. And now you have a little cutout here that once you put the HDMI connector back on, now you can see you can actually fit the HDMI connector in there because it's no longer being cut off. Now the top half of the case, we're going to do that real quick too. So you can see come on camera. You can see that the top half of the case cuts off almost the entire HDMI port. So you need to trim out. What you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and mark the position again. And then you're going to first, there's a little lip here of plastic that slots into the other half of this casing. So you're going to trim that portion where you marked it first. And you are going to have to go deeper than that, so that's not the whole install. Be nice if it was. Okay, so that portion of that lip has been trimmed out, as you can see. And then that, we'll use that to reference how much more we need to trim. So you see you have like 2/3 of the HDMI connector exposed at this point. Actually, that's a lie. You have about half of the HDMI connector exposed at this point. So you're going to mark again where the extremes of the HDMI connector are. And then for this part, it's a little sketch, to be honest. Not going to lie. You just kind of got to eyeball it, which is not ideal. But you get everything positioned up. And I would say right about here. That's too close. So you're going to look at this and let's see here. Yeah, I would say right about here is good. So if we took some calipers, let's take some calipers. Give me just a second. Here we go. So we got some calipers. So if we say that the HDMI connector, the bottom of it comes to here. So that's 1.64 millimeters. And the overall height of the HDMI connector is 3.27 millimeters. So 1.64 minus 3.27, 3.27 minus 1.64, let's see what that comes out to. That's 1.63 millimeters. So we're going to dial our calipers into, we'll just go for 1.65. Should give us a little bit of room. Okay, 1.65 millimeters locked in. So now we're going to take the calipers and we're just going to scratch in our measurement. So I have made a scratch mark for my measurement, and this may be too small. This may well be too conservative. Don't break your hobby knife. I don't know how that happened, but be careful with that. I wonder where that blade went. Sure hope I don't step on it later. Okay, well, crap, guy, dang. Let's get my other one. This one's a little bit bigger. But it can serve the same function. Okay, well that's not very straight. That kind of got messed up because of the excitement we had there. Grab my file. Try to just flatten this out a little bit. I would not expect that your hobby knife goes flying across the room in most installations. Alright, let's put this back together and we'll see how it fits now. So, there you go. That needs more. That actually needs more filing. Not deep enough. Let's try again. See where we're at now. Almost there. Just shy of there. Let's see. Yeah, it's just a little too tight. Let's file it just a little bit more. That's probably going to be it right there. Yep, I think that's it. Yep. It fits. Alright. So, we're done cutting. Let's start actually putting some screws. Alright, so we got Wi-Fi assembly. Get our heatsink put in. Okay. Got a top heat shield. Okay. Missed one. Let's see if I can get this with this small screwdriver. No. There we go. tricky shielding. See, all the markings on here are supposed to indicate where screws go and in what order. But this little shield plate here is tricky because it indicates that you should be able to put a screw in before installing the shield plate, but that's not the case. You gotta watch out for that Wii. Nintendo's trying to trip you up. This is how they try to stop people from modding their stuff. They put in little tricks like that. I'm sure that's the reason that that's like that. I'm sure it has nothing to do with anything else. Oh. Hold up, that came disconnected from this. Yeah, I think it's supposed to go on this side. Yeah, okay. That's how it's supposed to go. Ha! I missed another one. Another one of these short ones, but I caught it before it was too late. The thing about the Wii is that it has a ludicrous number of screws. It's insane. I don't know. Nintendo really went overboard with screws. I don't know how that this was an affordable piece of hardware to build. Screws are expensive. I mean, they're expensive like from a production standpoint because they take a lot of time and effort to install screws, lots of screws in a design. So most of the time companies are trying to reduce the amount of screws that they use in a design. They're trying to find pieces that kind of like interlock and have like, you know, mechanical retention that doesn't require any kind of fasteners, and using adhesives and things like that to avoid the use of fasteners because they're so expensive from a production standpoint. But Nintendo just went crazy with them. Everything has a screw. There's screws all over the place. This is one of the most screw-intensive pieces of consumer electronics I've seen in a long time. It's crazy. Oh, those bastards. They got me again. They got me again. This one goes in after this plastic piece here goes in. Those bastards. They are really tricky over there at Nintendo. Okay, this little piece snaps in here for the battery. Disk drive. Where's my tweezers? Well, that's pretty close to done here. Just got a few more screws to put in, and we'll be good to go. The real question is, where's my tri-wing screwdriver? I had it just yesterday because I used it to pull this thing apart. Here it is. Do these first. Oh, what's the holdup? Come on, figure it out. Figure it out. There we go. I figured it out. Adam Koralik style. As we almost do. I don't know if you figured it out, but I'll tell you who has. For sure, Adam Koralik has figured it out. Wait a second. Hold on a second here. Is that right? Yeah, okay, I guess that is right. Now, I don't know where it went, but one of these little screw covers went flying the day that I pulled this thing apart. So, sadly, that's out of there. Oh, you know what else came out just now? The threads for that. Damn it. Damn it. You know what that means? That means you gotta take this whole damn thing apart again. You know, if there's one thing that pisses me off about the design of the Wii, it's the fact that that captive nut that's supposed to stay in there to hold the battery in place can just fall out. It's infuriating. It's infuriating. What were they thinking when they did this? It's insanity. I can't believe they would do something so cruel. Nintendo really does not want you messing around inside of their consoles. And they just make it as infuriating as possible if you have to get back in there. If you make even a single mistake, it's got to be the most infuriating experience. I'm so sorry you're having to watch this. I mean, I really do feel bad about this. But I'll tell you what, it's a mistake you're going to make. If you ever open a Wii, you're going to end up putting it back together, and that captive nut is not going to be there. That is just what happens. That's just what happens with Wiis. I can't tell you how many times I've done it. And I made sure to put that captive nut in. I mean, I made sure that it went in. And yet, here we are. It's sitting on the table, and the Wii's put back together. Don't know how it happens. Okay, this piece right here. It's a little captive thread, and it's supposed to go right in here. And it snaps down in there, but somehow it will fall out before you get the thing put back together. Somehow it is going to fall out before I get this put back together. Even though I just put it in and I've now sealed the thing shut, somehow it will still fall out. It's going to happen. It's still in there for now, but it will find a way. It's one of the most stubborn things in the Wii design, period. It doesn't want to be there, frankly. And it will do everything in its power to avoid the fate of being inside of the Wii. But, you know what I say to that? I say, suck it. You're not gonna get me this time. There, now it can't fall out. Alright. Now, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, reassembly, man. It's a big fat pain in the ass. But I tell you what, when I'm done with this, I'm gonna take some polishing compound, and polish this Wii up, try to get rid of some of those scuff marks and stuff, make it look nice. And this is gonna be good to go. A very nice Wii. And the HDMI mod is great. I mean, it really is. It works wonderfully. And Wii games actually look really good in 480p HDMI, all, you know, pure digital. It's a good looking console, to be honest. A lot of good looking games. Super Mario Galaxy, man, it's fantastic. You know, the Wii is historically hamstrung by just the shitty video output options that it had. Its component video encoder kind of sucked, so it didn't produce very good quality component video, even with high quality cables. But, you know, an all digital HDMI output option kind of fixes that and makes up for that. And so that's what it's all about. Okay. Well, that's pretty much done. Let's go ahead and pop in an HDMI cable and fire it up one more time to demonstrate that after everything's packed up and ready to go, everything's still working. The infrared remote is supposed to work through the casing. That reminds me. You're supposed to drill a hole. I forgot about that. You're supposed to drill a hole for the button so that if you need to press and hold it later, you can. That hole would be... Let's see here. I have another example of this board somewhere. Okay, the hole that you need to drill would be somewhere in the neighborhood of like... Well, hold on a second. So this would be it. So the hole needs to be like somewhere around like right here. I'm not going to drill that hole right now. I'm going to do some measurements and do it properly. But you would have ideally done it whenever the case was still open. But I didn't. So there you go. Alright, so everything's plugged up. Let's get the sensor bar plugged in. Let's get a controller ready. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. See if the remote still works. Hey, the remote does work. Straight through the plastic. No troubles there. Yeah, so I can just... Doesn't matter where it's at. Well, that's pretty cool. There you go. That's a Wii Video HDMI, DVI, I mean. Wii Video DVI version 2.4C. I'll be compiling new firmware versions as they come out as well. So if you build one of these or install one of these, I'll keep the firmware up to date on my website for this. And if you want me to install one, then of course I'll always have it up to date with the newest firmware whenever you get it installed. And that's about it. So I appreciate you watching these videos. And you know, with prototypes, there's always the chance that we'll run into problems. So, you know, thanks for kind of hanging with me throughout this process, and we figured out what was wrong with everything, and that it wasn't actually that big of a deal. Just some labeling errors and then some stupidity on my part. So, but we've got a good design here that is going to be available for anybody who needs an HDMI solution for the Wii, but doesn't necessarily want to go to the full extent of getting the Wii Dual and you know, going to the expense of that. If you don't need the analog functions of it, I mean, this is going to be a more affordable option. I haven't set pricing yet. I haven't officially created a listing for this yet, because this, of course, is a prototype, so I've got some more testing I need to do with it. But once I get to that point, you guys will definitely know about it, and it'll be available on the website. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.